Well, it's made it to Thursday, over the hump. Not that I'm working, but it's nice to think about a hump. And as you can see by the opening graphic here, that Victoria ain't doing too well. 13 deaths. Dan doesn't seem to be having a great time, but the good news for Dan is apparently it's not his fault. It's everybody else's fault. Dan apparently is a perfect premier. He can do no wrong. But obviously, the people who work for him, the people who vote for him, just all the Victorians basically are letting him down. Speaking of lockdowns, of course we now have the situation where we have a couple of teenage girls, 19-year-olds, who have basically totally flaunted the shutdown, the lockdown, and had a nice little shopping trip down in Melbourne and come back to Queensland to present us with the present of a possible virus outbreak. Well, thank you very much for that. And what I think is wonderful is that they are going to be prosecuted because they lied apparently about where they were when they came back through quarantine. And the amount that they're going to be fined is $4,000 each. Now, I don't know whether they'll actually end up paying that, because just because the press reports that someone's being fined $4,000 doesn't mean they're actually going to be out of pocket. They could find some way of weaseling out of it. Personally, I think it's an incredibly light sentence and inappropriate for the gravity of the crime. I know that community anger is quite high, and as you can see from this other slide I have here, it is from a newspaper, that I'm not the only one. A number of people are calling for even these girls to do a bit of time. I think we need to make an example of them, that's no doubt about that. Others have said that they're getting the soft touch from Anastasia because of their sex and their ethnicity. I mean, who knows, that could be right. Certainly Anastasia is very loose with equality when it comes to the restriction of lockdowns. If you look at what happened with those Aboriginal Indigenous funerals, where there were quite a number of people, I think even in the hundreds, they turned a blind eye to that. So I think it is a bit of a slap on the wrist for these girls. I think they need to come down much harder, because if you're going to have a shutdown, you want to be fair dinkum about it. No BS like having Black Lives Matters protests. No BS by just saying, well, you know, tut tut, and we'll fine you, but you know, move on. No, it's not good enough. We need to come down hard if you're going to be serious about this. Oh, and just finally, a couple of small items just to bring you up to date. There was actually a bit of a bitchiness taking place with the Johnny Depp and Amber Heard divorce hearings. Poor old Elon came in for a tongue lashing from a relo. She's basically said that Johnny was a much better catch than Elon, who was a control freak. So poor old Elon is getting a bit of heat. He actually gave Amber a Tesla. I suppose you're seeing you've got a few to spare on the production line, it makes sense. But of course, it's typical of these sort of divorces. You're going to get this sort of bitchiness. And just the final tidbit I got from the Cairns Post, which I found quite interesting, is this little story about wind turbines. It just goes to show that they're not the be all and end all, and there is a lot of green hype around. And you know, I think we need to have a lot more balance in our media, in our education, who are brainwashing kids with this doctrine, and the politicians need to smarten up a bit. Anyway, I'll get on with the rest of the video now. Yeah, another great day. We've had, boy, this is about 10 in a row. Days like this, just a little bit of wind, about my only complaint, but I always complain about the wind. I'm consistent. I bought myself some more frozen lemon slices. They're really handy to have, and of course they'll last forever if they're in the freezer. But you just take out a couple of slices for drinks and stuff, and especially if you're by yourself, it's just a perfect thing. Just adds a little bit to if I'm having my G&Ts or just lemon drinks, whatever. It's just nice to have. I haven't tried it with lemon drinks yet. I'll try that now. Well, that's good. So yeah, hearing more information about the Three Gorges Dam in China, and there's a lot of talk about how it was a real compromised construction, because it provides hydropower as well as obviously flood control, and they said it's got a lot of different tasks to carry out, which means it isn't good at any particular one of them. And you know what that reminds me of? The space shuttle. That was supposed to be everything to all men, and it ended up tragically being a disaster for a couple of missions. So and it never fulfilled its specs. So I'm getting the impression there's a lot of dodgy workmanship taking place in China, and because they've been expanding so quickly, a lot of these construction progress are starting to show their wear prematurely. So on top of that, they've got the natural disasters still continuing with minor earthquakes. They had one in Tibet, and they're also having flooding that's continuing on as well. So yeah, a lot of fun and games over there, plus the fact that there's more and more companies and countries that are pulling away from China. They've just got the perfect storm in 2020. It's really turning out to be their, what do they call it, something, Eris Horribilis or something. Not a pleasant year for them. Yeah, it's Wednesday and it's actually quieter in the CBD today than it was on Sunday. But look at these works taking place still, just huge amount of them. Just non-stop. You hear a lot of jackhammers around here. There's one near my house too. So yeah, crash hasn't been too bad, thank God. But you can hear the jackhammers there. Actually, I forgot to mention the frozen lemon. It only cost me $2. I thought it was $4, but the actual label in this case was actually higher than what they actually charged me. So that's a nice switch. It's a very rare occasion that takes place. So yeah, $2, and they'll last you a while. I think that's about 500 grams or something. So you know, in the frozen form, you don't have wastage, and you can use whatever you like. I think it's really good. So I got myself a different bottle of Plonk because I was going to go and get the Spanish wine, but that was obviously on special. It's gone up to $16, which isn't that bad. But I'll try one that's on special. It was $10, and it's called 19 Crimes. It's a very elegant looking bottle. It's actually black and has a sepia label. A bit of style to that one actually. I mean, the actual wine could be total crap, but it's a cab sab, so it should be alright. So here we go. But I'll give that a try. Should be a little heavier than the Spanish wine, which is in between a Merlot and a cab sab. So we'll see. But yeah, I'm quite happy to try different reds. Doesn't worry me. As long as they've got a bit of body. I don't like Merlots that much anymore. Got to have something a bit more substance to make up for my lack of substance. Oh dear. A lot of people out about in the mall area. Very busy. A lot of money's been spent. Scott Morrison will be happy. So if you're a Woolies and Coles shareholder, you'll probably be happy too. But no, it looks pretty busy in the mall. So I don't know what that means, just anecdotal, but it's a good sign, I guess. Whereas obviously in Melbourne, things must be a bit tougher because you've got to wear masks going out all the time, and you know, so I suppose that'll put people off a little bit. I guess they might do bigger shops. Then again, other people might just go out and shop for excuse of doing something social because they're just sick of being institutionalised in their own homes, in effect. Yeah, I psychologically think this would be having a huge impact on the population. I'm still absolutely befuddled how Daniel Andrews is holding up so well in the opinion polls. They had one on Sky News again today, and he's still got majority support, slightly over 50%. And the disapproval's about 30 on the way he's handled this crisis.
I think they must be just sleepwalking through life down in Victoria. Glad I got away from the place. I'm sorry, Victorians, but I don't miss it. I will do an update of my 3 years living as a homeowner up here, because that'll be anniversary in August, when I had my own place, which makes a big difference to me. I feel more grounded here, and my overall impressions. So, and maybe a little bit of cost of living stuff. That's usually of interest to people, although cost of living is very subjective. There's so many factors come into play there, but people seem to love those sorts of videos. So who am I to if he loaded up there? Whew. Yeah, who am I to judge what's so popular on YouTube? I've got no idea. That's patently obvious. I'm going to do another video on space-based habitation. I've been planning this for some time, but after the initial flop with my moon-based one, it really went down like a lead balloon. I'm not expecting anything, but I'm just mainly doing it as just because I'm interested in the topic. If anybody else is interested, well, good, but I don't expect to make any do well with it, because the last one was a total bomb, and that was fully scripted. I did a bit of research, but didn't seem to make much difference. Maybe I'm just lousy at narration and picking the images, so we'll see. But I'll have another go at the other one. Nothing to be lost from it, just a bit of time. I've got plenty of that. So, and I do have a great interest in the future. I think we're in for, I won't be around to see it, but I think in the next few decades we're going to see some amazing changes. The first time we're actually going to have the ability to live sustainably off the planet, which will be something to see. I was actually thinking about giving Paddy Gibson, the organiser of that abortive BLM protest yesterday in Sydney, the Scumbag of the Week award, but I don't know whether he's significant enough to even deserve that. Maybe I can give a group Scumbag of the Week award to all academics doing Mickey Mouse subjects like he's doing, and getting paid by the government to basically avoid getting a real job in the private enterprise. And that includes obviously gender studies and all that garbage too. So yeah, I think I'll give him a group Scumbag of the Week. Congratulations, all you non-productive academics at our failing universities. Please consider subscribing to my channel if you think there's anything there of use to you, or entertainment or whatever, and either do that or give me a thumbs up, or if you're feeling really energetic, do both. That'd be great. But please don't ignore me. That's the worst thing you can do on YouTube, is be ignored.